So I didn't know if we wanted to address
I
that.
wanted to have
I'm not going to talk to you about this case. You have a lawyer. You need to talk to the
I wanted to talk
lawyer.
about my two cases before that, sir.
I'm not going to talk to you about this. We'll put you in back. If you want, I can give you a new
A
lawyer today.
defendant already out on bond for 2 terroristic threat cases, a reckless driving arrest clocking 106 miles per hour in heavy traffic, and a judge who's had enough. But here's the kicker. This defendant thinks he can fire his court-appointed lawyer like he's ordering off a menu. Watch what happens when Judge loses patience and drops one of the most memorable lines you'll ever hear in a courtroom.
Okay, so why are we here on Mr. Jenkins? What happened?
Yes, there was, he was on bond and there's a new offense, so we're here for an arraignment. And then,
So he's on bond for 2 cases. He's now picked up a 3rd case. Is this right?
that's correct, yes.
Mr. Jenkins, you now stand charged with the offense of reckless driving. You are facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Yes, Judge. On January 12, 2025 at 6:26 p.m., the officer observed the defendant's vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed on a feeder road without headlights on. The officer checked the speedometer and it read 80 miles per hour while the defendant's vehicle was traveling faster. This occurred in a 50-mile-per-hour zone. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle make an unsafe lane change, cutting off a motor vehicle and reaching a speed of 106 miles per hour with moderate to heavy traffic. The officer observed another unsafe lane change while attempting to catch up to the defendant's vehicle. A traffic stop was initiated and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Does he have a valid Texas
Yes,
driver?
Judge, eligible.
I'm now revoking your bond on the other 2 cases. You will go into custody with me because you picked up a 3rd case, sir. Goes with you.
Judge, he also is wanting me off the case. So I didn't know if we wanted to
I
address that.
wanted to have
I'm not going to talk to you about this case. You have a lawyer. You need to talk to the
I wanted to
lawyer.
talk about my two cases before that, sir.
I'm not going to talk to you about this. We'll put you in back. If you want, I can give you a new lawyer today.
Anybody?
I'll give you a lawyer, another. If you want to get off, and I'll provide you another lawyer. It's the 3rd case. Unacceptable. If you pick up a 4th case, holy moly, I'm going to absolutely lose it. Do you understand? I want my community safe. When you're out there, you need to make the right decisions before you do something. Think, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen? And if it could lead to a bad result, then don't do it. Do you understand? Can you run his license to see, does he have a valid?
Eligible, Your Honor.
Okay. You're not allowed to drive unless you have liability insurance as well. Do you understand? If you don't have car insurance, you cannot drive as well at all until you have a license and car insurance. Do you understand? Okay. Do we have any conditions, on the terroristic threat?
I got assigned to him, he was already in the back.
Correct.
And so I don't know if there was anything with the previous case. I know one of them is against the brother. My understanding that I think
So I guess tell me about it, Alex, please, on both terroristic threats. Who are they?
Terroristic threats? Yes, Judge. So on the first terroristic threat, the complainant and the defendant are brothers. Dispatched to a residence in regard to a family disturbance. The defendant was removing the complainant's belongings from the residence and putting them in the back of his own vehicle to prevent the complainant from getting his things. The complainant tried to remove his things from the vehicle and the defendant stated, "I will kill you." The complainant was in fear for his life when the defendant said this, and the defendant also later texted the complainant that if he touched his things again, he would cause him severe pain.
This is the second one.
And the second terroristic threat occurred on October 26, 2024, when the officer was dispatched to a Crunch Fitness. The officer made contact with the complainant, a manager at the gym, who stated the defendant was involved in verbal and physical altercations with other members of the gym, and multiple complaints were filed. The complainant stated the defendant's membership was canceled due to issues with other members, and the defendant.
Now we're getting into the meat of why this defendant was already in so much trouble before the reckless driving charge. Let's break down these 2 terroristic threat cases, because they paint a picture of someone with serious anger management issues. The first case involves Jenkins and his own brother. During a family dispute, Jenkins starts throwing his brother's belongings into the back of his vehicle. When his brother tries to retrieve his own stuff, Jenkins tells him, quote, "I will kill you." His brother was terrified. Jenkins then follows up with a text message threatening to cause him severe pain if he touches his things again. That's case number 1. Case number 2 takes place at a Crunch Fitness gym. Jenkins had been involved in multiple verbal and physical altercations with other gym members. So many complaints were filed that the gym manager canceled his membership and told him to leave. But Jenkins doesn't leave quietly. He starts screaming, cursing, causing a scene. He leaves the gym but then returns multiple times, escalating the situation. When the manager steps outside and tells him not to come back, Jenkins responds by threatening to return and kill him multiple times. Now, the defense attorney tries to argue that saying "I'm going to come back and kill you" isn't an immediate threat, but the judge isn't buying it. The threat was repeated, it was specific, and the victim was clearly in fear. That's enough to meet the legal standard for terroristic threat. And when you stack that on top of the reckless driving arrest, you've got a defendant spiraling out of control.
Making threats, the defendant then continued to act aggressively after finding out this information and caused a disturbance by screaming and cursing loudly. The complainant told the defendant he needed to leave and not return. The defendant became more agitated, left the business, returned multiple times, and when the complainant stepped out with the defendant and told the defendant not to return, the defendant responded multiple times he was going to come back to the business and kill the complainant.
Okay, Judge, I would argue on that one. I'm gonna come back. I don't see an immediate threat or anything like that, any brandishing of anything or.
You're on, it's the going to that we.
Repeat what the threat was again.
He responded multiple times he was going to come back to the business and kill the complainant.
I'm gonna come back, I think that there's enough to go forward. Don't go back to these places. I don't want you to have contact with either of the complaining witnesses. Do you understand? I'm gonna have you sign these bond conditions, make better decisions when you're out there, Mr. Jenkins. At some point, someone is gonna stop bonding you out and you will be stuck like Chuck in there until these things are over with. And it's gonna be a long time. Do you understand? You've asked me to give you a different lawyer. This isn't Burger King where you get your way. I will not give you another one. If you're unable to get along with Mr. Perez, then probably not him. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He may tell you things just because you don't like it. It doesn't give you a cause to complain and I don't like this person. No, he's going to give it to you. I've worked with him for many, many years. I trust him. He does a good job. That's why we gave him to you. You understand? Okay. So we'll have you sign these bond conditions and after that you'll be free to go. So he was not, I guess, having a good time with the prior lawyer.
Sure.
So,
I've spoken with his mom already over the weekend.
okay.
We had a really good talk about what was going on. I didn't know if she was gonna bond him out as soon as she did, so we're about to go have to talk to the factory about it.
My guess is though, is that if it's mom, she's not going to continue to do it because every time she bonds you out, all you're doing is you're giving free money to bonding companies. When you pick up new cases, all you're doing is you're giving money away. And I'm sure your mom doesn't have unlimited funds to just keep putting money away. Get a clue. What do you do for a living?
I worked for Uber because the job I was doing,
No, I just want to know, are you fully employed?
no, not at the moment.
You need to get a job. You have too much time on your hands and you become self-destructive.
It's hard to get a job because of my record.
Just listen to people.
Did she tell you something? Do you think it gets easier in life? No. You don't even have.
So here's how this all wraps up. The judge doesn't just revoke Jenkins' bond and lecture him about self-control. He delivers what might be the most iconic line of the entire hearing. When Jenkins complains that he wants a different lawyer, the judge fires back with this gem. This isn't Burger King where you get your way. Absolutely brutal. The judge explains that he's not handing out lawyers like party favors. The public defender assigned to Jenkins is experienced, trusted, and does good work. Just because Jenkins doesn't like what he's hearing doesn't mean he gets to shop around for a new attorney. The judge also digs into Jenkins' employment situation. He's currently working for Uber, but he admits he's struggling to find steady work. And the judge makes a chilling point. If it's already hard for Jenkins to find a job with no convictions on his record, how much harder will it be if these cases result in criminal convictions? It's a reality check that cuts deep. The judge warns Jenkins that his mother won't keep bailing him out forever. Every time he picks up a new case, she's throwing money away on bond fees. And if he picks up a fourth case, the judge warns him he's going to absolutely lose it. By the end, Jenkins is ordered to sign bond conditions for the 2 terroristic threat cases, which include no contact orders with the victims and staying away from the gym and his brother's residence. But he's going into custody on the revoked bond. This case is a masterclass in what happens when someone repeatedly fails to control their impulses. The judge's final words say it all. 95% of people are in jail because of no self-control.
Convictions, and it's hard for you to find a job. How hard do you think it's going to be if they end up in convictions? Do you see my point?
Sure.
Make better decisions. 95% people are in there because no self-control. All right, Matt.
And Your Honor, on both the terroristic threat cases, there are previous conditions from.
Yeah, I will just have them sign those.
Okay.
Yeah, so Matt, these are state's bond conditions, so they've already been filed, all he needs to just sign them.